If you think Walmart is still the undisputed king of cheap groceries in 2026, you are bleeding money every single week. Look at your receipt. Despite the headlines claiming inflation has cooled off, the reality at the checkout lane tells a completely different, frankly terrifying, story. We are paying a premium just to feed our families. And the traditional grocery giants are quietly banking on you not noticing their shrinking package sizes and creeping price hikes. But there's a massive, billion-dollar bloodbath happening right under their noses. It's the ultimate retail price war, and it is the only thing standing between your wallet and total grocery bankruptcy this year. I'm talking about the ruthless, hyper-optimized showdown between the two German juggernauts, Aldi and Lidl. Over my 15 years analyzing retail economics and tearing apart grocery supply chains from the inside out, I've seen every pricing trick in the book. I've reviewed thousands of wholesale manifests and watched major chains go bankrupt trying to shave pennies off a head of lettuce. As the guy behind Cost Kaka, my entire job is to expose exactly where your dollar goes and how you can claw it back. And let me tell you, what Aldi and Lidl are doing right now in 2026 is completely rewriting the rules of American consumerism. Here's the secret nobody in the traditional supermarket industry wants you to know. The old model of the mega grocery store, stocking 40,000 different items, paying for massive square footage, and hiring armies of staff to perfectly stack decorative pyramids of apples, is dead. It is financially unsustainable. Aldi and Lidl figured this out decades ago in Europe, but right now, they are weaponizing that knowledge across the United States in a way we have never seen before. Now, you might be asking, why is 2026 the breaking point? To understand that, we have to look at the sheer scale of the land grab happening right in your neighborhood. Aldi isn't just creeping across the map anymore. They are moving with the aggression of a military blitz. Remember that massive Winn-Dixie and Harvey's supermarket acquisition? Aldi absorbed hundreds of locations across the South. But it gets crazier. Instead of just slapping an Aldi sign on massive, bloated supermarkets, they surgically extracted the best real estate, offloaded the excess stores to investors, and immediately began converting the rest into their hyper-efficient, stripped-down format. They committed to dropping 800 new stores by 2028, and right now, in 2026, we are feeling the shockwave of those doors swinging open. They are effectively flooding the market to ensure that no matter where you live, an Aldi is closer than a Walmart. But Lidl refuses to be left in the dust. While Aldi is playing a massive game of real estate monopoly, Lidl is playing a psychological game with your shopping cart. If you've walked into a Lidl recently, you've probably noticed it feels a bit different than Aldi. It's slightly larger. The bakery smells like a Parisian cafe because they are baking fresh on site. They are banking on the idea that Americans want discount prices but still crave a premium-feeling experience. Think about it. Aldi gives you a utilitarian, get-in-and-get-out warehouse vibe where you bag your own groceries at lightning speed. Lidl offers wider aisles, softer lighting, and a curated selection of European wines and fresh pastries. Which brings us to the ultimate question. How are they both managing to slash prices by up to 40% compared to traditional grocers while fighting each other to the death? The answer lies in a ruthless concept called private label dominance. I know this sounds crazy, but stick with me. When you buy a box of name-brand cereal at a regular supermarket, you aren't paying for the corn or the sugar. You are paying for the marketing team, the Super Bowl commercials, the celebrity endorsements, and the bloated corporate overhead of the parent company. Aldi and Lidl entirely bypassed that circus. Right now, in 2026, Aldi is finalizing a massive historical shift by rebranding nearly all of its private label products under its own unified name. This isn't just a cute packaging refresh to make things look pretty on the shelves. This is a calculated, brutal cost-saving measure. By consolidating under one massive brand identity, Aldi is streamlining its packaging costs, simplifying its supply chain, and conditioning you to trust the Aldi name implicitly over any national brand. When they negotiate with manufacturers, and spoiler alert, many of these generic items are made in the exact same factories as the expensive name brands. They buy in astronomical bulk. They tell the manufacturer, "We will buy 50 million units of this peanut butter, but you will put it in our jar, and we will set the price." That level of volume guarantees rock-bottom manufacturing costs. But wait, because Lidl's counterattack on this front is fascinating. They lean heavily into their global sourcing power. Because Lidl is a monster across Europe, they can leverage international supply chains to bring incredibly high-quality imported goods, like authentic Italian pasta, Spanish olive oil, and German chocolates, into the U.S. market at prices that make Whole Foods executives sweat through their organic cotton shirts. They are essentially subsidizing the cost of your everyday staples by turning you into a fan of their exclusive, high-margin international treats. If this deep dive into the hidden mechanics of your grocery bill is opening your eyes, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here at Cost Kaka, we don't do surface-level fluff. We follow the money, and your subscription tells the algorithm that you want the hard facts, not the corporate PR spin. Now, let's talk about the exact breakdown of your receipt. When we actually ring up a cart of 30 identical staple items, eggs, milk, bread, chicken, produce, at both Aldi and Lidl this year, the pennies start to reveal a much larger, darker truth about where the grocery industry is heading. Here is the brutal reality of that 30-item receipt. When I ran the numbers this month across multiple locations, the total cost difference between Aldi and Lidl on bare-bones staples, milk, eggs, butter, white bread, came down to literal pennies. Aldi often edges out a victory by about 1% to 2% on the absolute bottom line receipt. But it's a hollow victory if you don't look at what you are actually throwing into the trunk of your car. Here's the kicker. Lidl routinely beats Aldi when we factor in the fresh meat and bakery departments. Because Lidl invested heavier in on-site preparation, their loss leader strategy, selling certain items at a loss just to get you through the doors, is focused heavily on fresh foods. Aldi, meanwhile, dominates the packaged pantry goods and dairy. But the darker truth isn't just about who wins the receipt battle. It's about how both of these giants are forcing you to fundamentally change your psychology as a shopper just to access those savings. Think about your traditional supermarket. You walk in, and there are 10 different brands of ketchup. It gives you the illusion of choice, but really, it just gives the supermarket 10 different ways to charge you a premium. Aldi and Lidl strip that away. They offer you one, maybe two, options for ketchup. Take it or leave it. By drastically reducing their total SKUs, industry jargon for the number of unique items on the shelves, they shrink the size of the store, slash their lighting and heating bills, and brutally negotiate their wholesale costs. But there is a hidden operational genius here that most people completely miss, and it happens right at the checkout lane. If you've ever felt like the cashiers at Aldi or Lidl are throwing your groceries at you with the speed of an Olympic athlete, you aren't imagining things. Their entire packaging ecosystem is engineered for speed. They print massive barcodes on 3, sometimes 4 sides of the product. The cashier doesn't have to hunt for the tag or flip the item over. They just drag it across the scanner, and the system registers it instantly. This shaves milliseconds off every single scan, which translates to fewer cashiers needed on the clock, dropping their labor overhead to absolute rock bottom. And right now, in 2026, both chains have massively accelerated their self-checkout rollouts. They trained us to bag our own groceries years ago. Now, they are training us to scan them, pushing their labor costs down even further while traditional grocers are desperately trying to reverse course on self-checkout because of rampant theft. How do the German giants avoid the massive theft waves crushing standard retailers? Simple. Smaller store footprints mean fewer blind spots. And incredibly tight inventory control means they know exactly what goes missing the second it happens. Now, let me tell you about the most dangerous aisle in the entire store. It's the reason you walk in for a $2 carton of eggs and walk out completely blacked out with a $40 inflatable kayak, an angle grinder, and a pair of German hiking boots. Aldi calls them Aldi finds. Lidl calls it the middle of Lidl. In the retail economics world, we call this the ultimate FOMO trap. This middle aisle is a rotating, chaotic bazaar of random, non-grocery items that change every single Wednesday. It feels chaotic, but it is a highly calculated psychological weapon. Because these items are, while supplies last, it triggers an immediate scarcity mindset in your brain. You know, if you don't buy that incredibly cheap patio heater today, it will be gone forever by tomorrow. Traditional grocers rely on predictable, boring weekly circulars. Aldi and Lidl have turned grocery shopping into a treasure hunt. They are leveraging dopamine hits to pad their profit margins. You save $15 on your weekly food staples, but you immediately hand that $15 right back to them by buying a seasonal candle or a discount power tool you didn't even know you needed. But what happens when we look at the fresh produce? This is where the battle line gets drawn in blood, and it's the number one reason why middle-class shoppers are still hesitating to fully abandon their legacy supermarkets. Here is the deal with fresh produce. This is the final frontier, the Achilles heel of the discount model. When you shop at a traditional supermarket, you are paying for the illusion that someone is checking every single strawberry in the bin for mold every hour. At Aldi and Lidl, the business model relies on high rotation. They move products so fast that it doesn't have time to sit and rot. But if you hit the store at the wrong time, between restock cycles, you're going to find picked over shelves. This is why, even in 2026, millions of Americans still keep a secondary grocery store in their rotation. They hit Aldi for the pantry staples, the cheese, and the freezer items, but they'll swing by a traditional grocer for the specific produce they need for that night's dinner. So, who wins the war? If you are looking for the absolute, mathematical winner of this price war, it's not as simple as a corporate press release. It depends entirely on what you value more, your time or your experience. If your goal is to exit the store in under 15 minutes, spend the absolute minimum amount of money possible, and you don't care if you have to bag your own groceries or navigate a treasure hunt aisle, Aldi is your undisputed champion. They are the masters of the no-frills, high-efficiency game. They have perfected the art of making you feel like you've hacked the system every single time you walk out of the store with a cart full of food for under $100. However, if you want that efficiency, but you also want a foodie experience, if you want to walk out with a fresh baguette, a selection of European cheeses, and a slightly more curated vibe without paying Whole Foods prices, Lidl wins the quality of life battle. But here is the truth that the CEOs of these companies don't want you to say out loud. The real winner of this 2026 price war isn't Aldi, and it isn't Lidl. The real winner is the shopper who stops being loyal to a single store. Stop thinking of your grocery shopping as a relationship. It's a transaction. The days of the supermarket being the place where you buy everything are gone. The smartest shoppers I know in 2026 are playing the field. They use the Lidl app to snag their bakery deals. They hit Aldi for their pantry staples. And they only visit the legacy supermarket when they absolutely need that one specific national brand or a massive variety of fresh produce. These stores are fighting for your wallet, and they are willing to bleed cash to win your loyalty. Don't give it to them. The grocery giants are betting on your laziness. They are betting that you'll just park your car at the same store you've gone to for 10 years because it's convenient. Don't be that person. The price war isn't a headline. It's an opportunity. And if you've followed this entire series, you now have the toolkit to exploit their strategies for your own gain. You know how they barcode. You know how they trigger your FOMO in the middle aisle. And you know how to navigate the private label matrix. I want to know how this has changed your shopping routine. Are you Team Aldi, Team Lidl, or are you still loyal to the traditional chains? Drop a comment below with your go-to store. I read them all, and the best shopping hack I see in the comments might just get featured in our next investigation. And if this series helped you stop overpaying for the same bag of groceries, hit that like button. It helps us get this information out to more people who are tired of watching their bank accounts drain at the checkout. I'm Kos Kaka, and I'll see you in the next investigation. Stay sharp, and keep your wallet even sharper.